When our first daughter was little and still sleeping in her crib, she did the strangest thing in the mornings when she woke up. Nothing. Until she moved to a bed when she was older, when she was a toddler, this was what she did. She slept on her back. We would put her down. She'd sleep on her back. And when she woke up in the morning, she would just lay there and just stay on her back. She never sat up. She never stood up in bed. And actually, rarely did she even yell for us to come. We had a video monitor so we could look at her, so we knew when she was awake. But without that video monitor, honestly, I don't know if we would have known when she woke up, because she would just lay there and just wait. On the weekends, if I saw her waking up, I knew I could go take a shower quick before I went in and got her, because she would just wait for us. Now, our second daughter is the complete opposite. You always know right when she wakes up. And when she wakes up, she is not staying still. But our firstborn was just like that. While she was in her crib, she just waited quietly. I suppose she just trusted that we would come get her when the time was right. And as I picture her just peacefully waiting for us in her crib, I think, man, that's a picture of often what it's like to follow Jesus faithfully. Last week, we focused in this Advent 2022 on God's promises, specifically His promises to send the Messiah, the anointed King Jesus, to bring God's kingdom in a new way. But between the promises about Jesus and the coming of Jesus at Christmas, God's people had to wait. Hundreds of years they had to wait with expectation. And as we wait for Christmas to arrive, as we wait for the 25th to arrive, we wait with expectation. We do what God's people have done for generations. But in a larger and even realer sense, we too live in an age of waiting as God's people. Jesus has promised that He will return. He has promised His kingdom will come to the earth. His resurrection on Easter declares that He is King of a new creation that is coming. But we live in the age between His comings. We live in the age where His kingdom has come in a sense at Christmas, but it hasn't been yet fully realized. We live in the already but not yet era of God's kingdom on the earth. Today I want to look at a psalm written by David when he was waiting on the Lord to deliver him from the powerful who were oppressing him, and they were oppressing God's people, and he was just waiting on God to do something about it. And his declaration in the first two verses of Psalm 62, they apply to his situation, obviously, but really they apply to any season of waiting, as we're waiting on God to move, as we're waiting on God to act, as we're waiting on His kingdom to come, like God's people waited for hundreds of years between the promise and the coming of Jesus at Christmas. Psalm 62 starts like this. It says, "For God alone my soul waits in silence. From Him comes my salvation. He alone is my rock and my salvation, my fortress. I shall not be greatly shaken." The psalmist David waits, not for a man to come help him, not for the rulers of this world to come and change their mind and change their policies and help him. He waits for God alone. His soul doesn't wait, notice, frantically, right? Tapping its foot, checking the clock, waiting for God to arrive. He's not impatient. No, he says his soul waits in silence. He's confident the Lord will come. Why? Well, because he has made God the source of his salvation. So yeah, circumstances may eventually change and things will get better. Yes, better days may come. Yes, people may offer help in time of need, but then eventually circumstances change back. Eventually, good days turn to hard days. Again, eventually we face things that nobody can really help us with. And David understood this, so he made God alone the source of his salvation. The psalmist David knows this. And so because of this, his soul waits on no one but God alone, because he is the one who offers ultimate salvation. Which leads him in verse 2 to say that he is his rock. God is what he stands on and leans on when he needs stability. His salvation, his fortress, the place where he hides when the enemies are attacking. Where do you go when enemies are attacking? You go to your fortress. For David, that's God. And because that's God's position in his life, because God is his rock, because God is his fortress, David says, I will not be greatly shaken. So he declares with this song that his soul waits for God and no one else. And his soul does it, how? In silence, knowing, trusting that God will come. Like I said, we live in the already but not yet era of God's kingdom. His kingdom has come already in Jesus, but it's not yet fully come when Jesus returns. And so, like those believers between the promises of God and Christmas, we wait. We wait in silence, trusting that God will make good on his promises. Trusting that one day Jesus will be what he already is, and that's King of the whole world, and he's going to rule with perfection and with righteousness and with justice, and he's going to bring peace to all of our lives and to the whole earth. And ultimately, that's what we need. And so that is where we should place our hope as we wait for and as we long for that kingdom that he promises will come.